afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our Find Your Future panel event on engineering. My name is Kate and I'm from the Careers Service. So before our panelists introduce themselves and begin the session, we'd just like to go over some basic housekeeping. So the event is being recorded and will be available on the Careers Service YouTube channel to watch again at a later date. We do understand that some of you may wish to turn off your camera function, although we do encourage as many of you as possible to keep your camera switched on throughout the session, especially during the Q&A with our panelists. You will notice that you've been automatically muted, and during the session there will be an opportunity for you to ask our panelists questions, and you can do this by typing your question within the chat box or alternatively by clicking on the raise your hand function in the reactions tab. Once you have spoken, we do ask that you click on the lower hand button so that our speakers can identify any further questions for the attendees, and press the mute button again, please. So just to go through the running order for today. So today you will hear from Jack from Atkins, Claire from BWB Consulting, and Jude from ISG. So I will introduce each speaker, and they'll give you an introduction to their organisation, which will take around 5 minutes. After each speaker, there'll then be the opportunity for you to ask your questions. So thank you for joining us today, and we'll really hope that you enjoy the session. So I'm now going to hand over to our first panelist, Jack from Atkins.
Thanks a lot, Kate. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm just gonna wait for some slides to be put up. Can you all hear me clearly?
Yeah. Can you see your slides, Jack? Yeah.
Yeah, I can see them.
Great.
Perfect. Thank you very much. All right, so good afternoon, everyone. As I'm sure you're aware, I'm Jack Kinsella, and I'm here to tell you a bit about early careers at Atkins. However, first, I'll introduce myself. So I've worked at Atkins for just over a year now on the Aerospace, Defence, Security and Technology, or ADS&T graduate scheme. I've worked on several projects for clients within land safety so far, and I'm currently working for a client in asset management. However, my background is chemical engineering, and I graduated 2 years ago from Newcastle University, much like yourselves. I think that's enough about me. I'll give you a little intro into Atkins. So Atkins are a member of the S&C Lavalin Group. We are a consultancy of over 80 years, design and engineering expertise. We are driven to help clients bring complex projects to life, make a real difference to people's lives globally, and that's something that I can really align with. Currently there's 18,000 of us in Atkins across offices in the UK, Europe, the Middle East, North America and Asia Pacific. We work on global projects that take on today's most pressing challenges, from population growth to increasing transportation needs all the way to climate change. So if you could move on to the next slide, Angela. Has that changed for everyone? It's not changed for me.
Can't seem to move on. Sorry.
If you try clicking on the screen, Ange, I had to do that with my slides.
Oh, there. Sorry about that, everybody. There you go, Jack. Sorry.
Thank you very much. So we cover 6 different business areas. First one is ADS&T, Aerospace, Defence, Security and Technology. That's the area I work within. We also have Faithful and Gold, which is a project management consultancy. We've got infrastructure, nuclear and clean power. We have oil and gas, offshore wind, and finally transportation. Next slide. Within these sectors, we have set vacancy types. So we have graduate jobs for those already graduated. We have graduate jobs for those graduating in 2022. We've got year-long placements and we've got summer placements. And up on screen is our early careers website, where you can find information about all those vacancies, and there's a link there below. I'm going to share all useful links after my presentation. So I'll put them in the chat pane. So the vacancy numbers for 2022, we have 500 graduates, 210 placement students, 170 apprentices. Atkins is going through a real period of growth, and so I can only expect these numbers to increase over the next few years. Next slide would be great. So the graduate selection process and the placement selection process. As you can see, there are two different processes. It starts with finding the right role for yourself and registering your interest. You move on to a situational judgment test. Then we have an online application form, an application review, a virtual interview with business, and finally a virtual assessment centre for the graduate selection process, but there is no assessment centre for the placement students. Next slide. So some hints and tips for the application. Do your research, find out everything about our development program and the industry you're applying to. Make sure you meet the minimum criteria detailed in our job descriptions, and also only apply to one role. You'll only be allowed to apply to one role. Focus your application, tailor the information you provide to the role you have chosen. Make sure your passion comes across. Reference any related projects or modules you've previously been involved in within the subject you're applying for. Take your time, make sure you don't rush any steps in our recruitment process. You can always save your application and return to it another time. And finally, check and check and check. Revisit your application before you submit it to make sure there are no errors and that you've added every little bit of information you think is required. Next slide. Also, just sorry, there's a link there that I will add after this. But throughout our recruitment process, we want to make sure you perform to the best of your ability. So if you do have a disability or a health condition which you might require a reasonable adjustment for, please email us at that link or call us on that number. But like I said, I will add them to the chat pane after this talk. Thank you, Angela. Next slide. So there are a number of ways which we can stay connected, and you can stay connected with Atkins. And if you want to ask us any questions you might need during your application process. So first of all, make sure you follow us on all our social media pages. It's a great way to understand what's going on within the company. And these will go in the chat pane afterwards. So next slide. You can also connect with us using our early careers portal connector. Students can talk directly to our graduates and apprentices via this app, and they're on hand to provide students with advice on how to apply and all things Atkins. I think that's everything. I hope you found these slides useful. I appreciate there's a lot of information, and I'll be here to answer any questions later on, and I'll be here for a breakout room if you would like it. So thank you very much, Angela, for presenting those.
Brilliant. Thanks, Jack.
Brilliant, that was great. Thanks, Jack. Really insightful to hear from a recent Newcastle graduate about your experience at Atkins, and some great application tips there as well. Just want a quick reminder to our students that you can submit any questions to any of our speakers via the chat function. And I'm now going to hand over to Claire from BWB Consulting. Thanks, Claire.
Thanks, Kate. Okay. Bear with me, that's the wrong screen. Sorry, bear with me. Just trying to share the right screen. Okay, can you see the, oh, sorry, it's not sharing that screen. I do apologize. Okay, I'll have to leave that slide, I think. It's just the one slide. Okay.
No problem, Claire.
Okay, sorry about that. I'll just introduce myself. My name's
Sorry, Claire, I think you might be on mute.
Sorry, technical hitch. Okay, thank you for that, and sorry. I've just introduced myself. I'm Claire Kelly and I'm a recruitment advisor at BWB Consulting. I'm really pleased to be given this opportunity to talk to you today here at Newcastle University. My role at BWB is to assist the hiring managers to bring the best talent into the business. At BWB, we know from experience that talented graduates are vital to our ongoing success. We listen to your ideas and you do have a voice. We are looking for graduate talent to join our 2022 graduate programme. We are recruiting 35 graduate roles across our 5 office locations, which are Nottingham, Birmingham, Manchester, Leeds and London. BWB Consulting are a multi-award-winning engineering and environmental design consultancy, and we have a proven reputation for exceptional client satisfaction. We employ over 320 staff, and in the last year through the pandemic, we recruited over 80 new staff, and we have future growth plans. We're an Investors in People Platinum standard company, a Sunday Times Top 100 Best Companies to Work For, and an NCE Top 100 consultancy. The graduate opportunities for 2022 that we're recruiting for are: in our Transport and Infrastructure group, graduate civil and infrastructure engineers and transport planners. In our Environment group, we're looking for graduate ecology consultants, air quality consultants, geotechnical engineers, geoenvironmental engineers, civil engineers and consultants in our water team, and acoustics consultants based in Manchester. In our Building and Built Environment group, we're looking for graduate structural engineers and graduate mechanical and electrical building design engineers. In our Rail group, we are looking for graduate track engineers and civil engineers. That's in our Rail Civils team. In our Corporate Services team, we have 1 graduate opportunity, which is for a management accountant graduate. We also have 1 confirmed placement opportunity, and that is in our acoustics team for 12 months to start in September 22, which would be a sandwich placement. We are also taking expressions of interest for work experience and summer placements for 2022. You will be able to submit a cover letter and CV through the role on our website, and I'll put all the links into the chat after the presentation. So what are we looking for from our graduate talent? We're looking for a relevant degree to the vacancy you are applying for or working towards this. We're looking for passion and enthusiasm for your chosen industry, ambition and a willingness to learn. We're looking for good communication and personal organisation skills. And we're looking for candidates who are self-motivated with a positive attitude and good problem-solving skills. If you have the ability to work independently or part of a team, and we're looking for excellent IT skills in Microsoft Office and understanding of AutoCAD and or other industry relevant software. You must be eligible to live and work full-time in the UK, not requiring sponsorship. So the next steps, all the BWB graduate vacancies are advertised on our careers page, and I will pop the link into the chat. If you can submit a CV and cover letter. Our application closing date is Friday the 10th of December, and screening questionnaires will be sent to applicants who have passed the initial screening stage. Our recruitment centre and interviews are to be held in January and February 2022, and offers will be made to successful applicants by March 2022 for a summer start. You're welcome to put your expressions of interest for work experience. There's no closing date for that. So thank you so much for taking the time to learn more about BWB Consulting and our early careers opportunities. I'll be available in the breakout room afterwards should you have any questions, and we look forward to receiving your applications. Thank you.
That was great. Thanks, Claire.
Thank you.
Really great to find out about the many different graduate opportunities that you have there at BWB Consulting, and to get an overview of that recruitment process as well. So thanks, Claire. So I'm going to hand over to our final speaker for this session, Jude from ISG.
Thank you. Hello everyone, again thank you for joining this call today. Whilst I get my screen up, I'll just introduce myself. So I'm an early careers advisor for ISG, so I look after the graduates and apprentices and industrial placements currently in the business, as well as the recruitment for those joining next year. So I'll just share my screen, hopefully you can all see my slides. And tell you a little bit more about who we are. So we are a global construction company, and we have offices all around the UK, Europe, Middle East and Asia. You can see on the small maps in each of the corners where we've got some of our offices, and we also have projects that are worldwide as well. Our main business units are fit out, engineering services and construction. We also have a smaller division known as retail. So some of the projects that they focus on are offices, distribution and logistics centres, such as working for the likes of Amazon, data centres, working with the likes of Facebook, Microsoft, Google. We also do some healthcare projects, so working for the private and NHS. Currently, one of our biggest projects that we're working on is ION, Institute of Neurology, and it's a dementia research facility. So once that's built, it's going to help cure dementia, and they're hoping that they'll be able to cure that over the next 20 years once that building has been built. We also work with some high-end retail and supermarket stores, the public and private sector as well, so building police stations, prisons, fire stations, university campuses, schools, whether that's primary or secondary school, and a lot of hospitality and leisure projects. We've built the velodrome and have done some works with the Olympics as well. So all of our projects are scattered, and so we have a lot of flexibility when it comes to locations. And in terms of what we're proud of, I've got some of our achievements there. So we are the #1 London fit out company as well as retail company, and we're in the top 2 data center providers in Europe. Another achievement that hasn't quite made it onto our website on this lovely little thing we've got here is that we've actually started a project, the UK's first gigaplant known as British Volt. You'll be able to read that article on our website, on our LinkedIn and any of our social media. So that's a really huge project that we've got just outside of Newcastle. And you can see at the bottom of this slide here our core values. So the people that we'd like, to come into the business, we want them to resonate with these values. So dream smart, speak frankly, always care and never stop learning. If you think that you can relate to these values and you can implement them in your day-to-day working life as well as your personal life, it'd be great, come along and apply. With our vision, you can see that in the top right hand corner. So we want to be the world's most dynamic construction services company, delivering places that help people and businesses thrive. And so if you do go onto our website, you'll be able to read more about our plans and how we want to do that. Our CEO implemented an all by 4 by 24. So we've got 4 goals that we want to reach by 2024. And then once we reach those, we'll set up some new targets as well. So it's really exciting times in our company. In terms of our recruitment and our programs, our core roles that we tend to recruit for are quantity surveying, construction management and technical or building services management. However, the last intake that joined us in September, we expanded our roles and we'll be hoping to do that again for next year into planning, design management, finance, bids, sustainability, social values. So we're quite flexible in the roles that we offer as we're trying to grow our early careers talent in the business. So just a little bit more about our programs. We have a graduate program that is 2 years long. You spend your first year rotating across the different disciplines. That way you gain more understanding of how those disciplines work, how they link and help build a project. And that just really makes it easier for you to understand the construction environment and how ISG work together. And then you spend year 2 in your core discipline. You spend your last year in your core discipline so that when you promote off, it's a smoother transition for you because you have that background. Alongside your 2-year program, you'll attend different workshops. You'll have technical workshops and soft skills training as well. We also offer an industrial placement scheme, which is 1 year long. So there are no rotations, but there are opportunities to have some exposure and shadow in different kinds of disciplines as well, just to gain a better understanding of how they work. And again, you'll also get to attend the technical and soft skills training. There is an opportunity to come back onto our graduate program as well. And then we also have an apprenticeship program where you study and obtain a degree, so most probably not relevant to anybody on this call, but that's a little summary of our programs. On our website we have more detail around them, so if you are interested in anything, feel free to go online and have a little look in more detail. And in terms of our application process, so all of our applications are live now. You can go online and select what is more suitable to you, what you're interested in. And we're looking to close our applications on the 17th of December. The start date would be in September the following year. So when you apply, you will be asked to submit your CV and answer a few questions, general questions, why you're interested in construction, what you know about ISG. You move on to an online test and a video interview. And if you're successful in these stages, the final round is an assessment centre. The assessment centre, you get to meet other people in the business as well, who will be your assessors. So a mixture of project managers, commercial directors, other graduates as well in the business. And then that leads on to an offer. Once you've been offered, and hopefully we aim to try and get all of our offers finalised by April time. From April till September, because that's quite a big gap, we stay in contact with you. We arrange site visits, we do group events, we introduce you to your teams and your line manager, send out newsletters just to make sure that you know what's going on before you join, and that you actually know some people before you start in September. So that's everything for me. I'll stop sharing my screen now, and I'm sure there's a short Q&A, so if you have any questions, I look forward to hearing them.
Great, thanks Jude. Really great to hear about the interesting work carried out by ISG and the variety of roles that you have available. So the remainder of the session now will be Q&A, and I do have a few questions to start with that have been submitted via the chat function. So please do feel free to submit any further questions that you have. So the first question comes from Georgia, and that is to Jack. Are placement opportunities at Atkins restricted to undergraduate students, or are they also open to those graduating in 2022? So do you have any work experience opportunities for graduates?
Okay, I believe I responded to the question in the chat, but I think placement students are restricted to undergraduates. However, if you are graduating in 2022, the graduate scheme should be ready for you to apply to now, or accessible for you to apply to now.
Thanks, Jack. And I know in each of your presentations you all mentioned summer internships or placement years. Could you give us an idea of how many of your graduates come through those routes, would you say? How important is a placement or an internship? Yeah,
so our industrial placement is a 12-month scheme. So it's for those in university who can take a year out and then they go back to uni to finish off their last year. We don't offer summer placements, but those industrial placements that we've had a 90% success rate of bringing them back once they finish their university degree to come back onto our graduate program.
90%.
Yes, it's pretty good.
Yeah, excellent. And Claire, how many of your graduates would you say come through a work experience route at BWB?
I don't know the exact figure. I can find out and let you know. I don't want to just pull a figure out, but it is, you know, a high level. I know that we've got an acoustics one we're bringing back. So yeah, that we do aim to bring them back. But yeah, I can let you have the figure.
Great, thanks, Claire. I think, you know, that increasingly employers are using internships and placements as a way to I guess attract students earlier for graduate recruitment. That's really interesting. Thank you. And thank you for answering the question in the chat function there, Claire.
Yeah.
So I know I guess it'd be really helpful to get an idea of what your top tips are for students, whether that be in terms of their application form or preparing for interview. What's going to make them stand out against other candidates?
Yeah, I think if they do some research on the companies that they're applying for sure. Certainly at BWB, we pop, you know, the projects that we're working in, you know, we're quite happy for everybody to see what we're working on, and if, you know, they take a look and put in their application that something sparked their interest, we know that they're genuinely interested in us. And, you know, I appreciate everybody does apply to different companies, but it's nice to see that there is a particular reason or a particular interest in our company. So yeah, that can make an application stand out.
Thanks, Claire. And
yeah, from my perspective as someone who graduated so recently, certainly one of the things I found helpful was finding out about as much about the company as you could, and sort of seeing what the values of the company were and if they aligned with you as a person. If you're a real sort of people person, like to work with people, then consultancy at Atkins is definitely something you should look at. Sustainability, if you like, you know, something I found on the Atkins website, sustainability was something that I was really interested in, and one of the reasons why I decided to apply. So yeah.
Thanks, Jack. And Jude, any top tips for applicants?
Yeah, and just really to show your enthusiasm and that you have done your research into our company as well. So when you're applying, you will be asked, why do you want to work for ISG and why do you want to work in the construction industry? And we don't necessarily look for you having construction experience. It's just getting your passion and your enthusiasm across and thinking outside the box. So transferable skills. If you're working in a completely different role in a supermarket, for example, or, you know, a clothing shop, what skills do you have that you think are transferable? Communication, team working, it's all of those that we're looking for, that you've actually thought about it and applied that to this role that you're going for. So that's what we would look for in terms of your CV, just making it clear, you know, what you're studying, actually put in any of your if you've done any volunteering, putting that on your CV as well. It shows again that you've actually gone out of your way to do something. So that's what we're looking for. Any examples? I know that there's a question in there saying what kind of skills you find attractive in fresh graduates and ISG. It is just coming up with different ideas. One of our values is dream smart, so apply our values. And if you've ever had to do something, even whether it's university, and you've come up with a brand new idea, explain that in your application or explain that in the video interview that you have to do or at the assessment centre, because that's what we're looking for, someone who is brave and bold, wanting to stand out. It's quite daunting when you go into a new role and you're a graduate and you don't have that experience. If you're in a meeting with a bunch of senior people, if you have an idea, voice it, because that's what they want to hear. Don't just shy away from it.
Great, thanks, Jude. And directing that question to Claire and Jack as well, around skills, what would you say that the key skills that you're looking for in applications?
Just to show that you know, you've got a positive attitude and good problem solving skills. You know, at BWB we're collaborative with other departments and teams, so you need to try and highlight on your application that, you know, you're happy to work as part of a team but also independently, because, you know, you will be doing projects on your own as well. obviously supervised. Yeah, skills, obviously IT skills, you know, Microsoft Office, as I said, and an understanding of AutoCAD or other industry relevant software. But yeah, just a passion and enthusiasm are the main things, but also because of our report writing and, you know, project work, we do need people who are really good at writing and conveying themselves. So if, you know, candidates can put that in, you know, in the CV, like a profile, you know, we can see how the style that you write in. So yeah, but we look forward to your applications. Thank you.
Great, thanks, Claire. And Jack, anything to add there around the sort of the key skills that you'd be looking for?
Well, from my perspective, I was a chemical engineer, and the roles I've done so far have not necessarily been aligned with chemical engineering. So it's not one particular background. Your skill sets can be varied. Within consultancy, looking for sort of innovation. A lot of people have said passion. That's definitely true. Obviously, you'll be working to deadlines. What else? I think creativity is often undervalued, and we look for that. So there's lots of different skill sets, and I'm sure given your degree that you've done, you'll have definitely undertaken some of them throughout the process. So yeah, I think a wide variety of skills.
Happy days.
Thanks, Jack. And a question now from a postgraduate. So I guess when you're talking about the placements, the undergraduate placements, what about postgrads? Do they have access to the same placement years or graduate opportunities as an undergraduate?
Yeah, for us, it's the same process, and yeah, it's exactly the same application. You come into the business and you go onto the exact same programs. You still go through the same technical training and soft skills.
Yeah, same for us as well. Yeah, obviously with the placements at Sandwich, you know, they go back after a year, but yeah, same for us. Yeah,
For the graduate opportunities, great.
Yeah.
Thanks, Claire. And Jack, do you have the same graduate opportunities there for postgraduates?
Really interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. So a three-year graduate scheme.
Great, thanks, Jack. And out of interest as well, obviously things have changed for all of us over the last 18 months or so. I'm just wondering about the impact on COVID on your business and your sector, and has that changed the way you're working? Is it a more hybrid model now? Or if you could just tell us a little bit about that, that would be really interesting. Claire, do you want to go first?
Yeah, so ours is more of a hybrid model. Most of us are working from home. However, with graduates, we do understand that, you know, we do want to be on site and be mentoring and guiding them. But, you know, after say 6 months or so, you know, we would like them to be in the office to be properly mentored and looked after initially, but then with a view to them, you know, a bit more flexibility.
Thanks, Claire. And Jude, how have things changed, or have they changed at ISG?
Yeah, so we're more hybrid if you're office based. So it's a mixture of working from home and going into the office 2 or 3 times a week. Obviously, we have a load of construction projects. So if you are site-based, wanting to be a construction manager, you will be based on site for 5 days a week, unless you're doing a certain task that doesn't require you to. However, we're going into a hybrid model in the way that they want to try and change the rotas on site. So doing shorter days or starting slightly later or finishing earlier, so you're avoiding that rush hour. And those that are working in the office, so if you were ever to spend some time in one of the local offices, we will be having a new desk booking system. So right now, you just turn up and you just take a seat, and if you've got your old desk, you're lucky. But right now, they'll be turning it into you before you go into the office. You book your desk, so you know you actually have one when you go in. So there's we're just rolling that out over the next few months.
Thanks, Judith. And what's the situation at Atkins, Jack?
Yeah, so there's no specific requirement to go into the office at the minute unless a client role demands it. From my perspective as a graduate, I was really keen. I was working from home in Leicester. I worked my first year in Leicester and the office is in Bristol. So I was really keen to sort of go down because as a graduate, you are looking to, sort of make new friends and make new, connections in work. So at the minute, I'd say we're going into the office 2 or 3 times a week after moving down to Bristol, but there is no requirement. So it's very flexible.
Yeah, certainly seems a lot more flexibility than previously. So I have a question from Megan for you, Jack. I can't say that this has been answered, so please let me know in the chat. It's around summer placements and what fields of engineering you offer those in, and if you could give an idea of location and duration of those summer internships.
So yeah, I was desperately trying to scramble. We don't offer a summer internship. We offer a year-long placement. But the fields of engineering are, any field of engineering is applicable to the placements that we do offer, ranging from chemical engineering all the way to electrical engineering. Certainly we have a lot of clients in aerospace, so that's very applicable. And we've got offices all over the country. We have an office in Birmingham, Manchester, Cheltenham, down in Bristol, and there's one in London. I can put a few links in the chat, giving a good idea of both those questions.
Great, thanks, Jack. And Claire, your industrial placements and graduate roles, where are they typically based, or are they in a number of locations?
The summer placements in all of our 5 offices, we don't have any confirmed placements yet, but we are, as I say, taking expressions of interest for summer placements and work experience. The 5 offices are Nottingham, Birmingham, London, Leeds and Manchester, and that would be any of our disciplines, so structures, corporate services, environment, rail, transport and infrastructure. So if any candidate is interested, what we ask you to do, the link is in there to apply. There's one set up for each office, the location you're interested in. We just ask that you pop in there which areas of interest you have and your your available dates, and then we will come back to you when something becomes available. So yeah. Yeah, we also offer work experience as well. Again, there's no confirmed just yet, but they will be available, and it's the same process. So they're from 2 weeks up. You shadow a professional, and yeah, we'll offer you some experience. Yeah,
that's really helpful.
That is paid actually for 5 weeks. Anything that's over 5 weeks is paid. Our work experience.
Great, brilliant, thanks Claire. And Jude, how about ISG in terms of the location of your graduate and placement opportunities?
Yeah, so ours are spread out all across the UK from Cardiff up to Scotland. We have, I think it's 14 offices in the UK, and they're all on our website. But yeah, Reading, Manchester, Bradford, you've got Chorley as well, Whitstable, and then our head office Aldgate. So they are scattered. The only thing I would say about our placements, if you're an industrial placement, you tend to stay on the same project for the whole 12 months. If you're a graduate, you will move around and you have to be flexible in terms of location. So we build where our clients ask us to, so we can't build on your doorstep. So as much as we would all like that, there might be times where you do have to travel a distance to get to a project, and obviously ISG will cover you for that. Your expenses, your travel will be paid, and if you did have to stay away from home, you would be put up in a hotel. So that would always be discussed with you. We try to make sure that you're working as close to home as possible, but if there was a project that was really exciting and would really help with your development, then it's just to have that open mind that it might be a little bit further.
Great, thanks you. That's really helpful, really good to know. I think that's it for all of the questions now. So we can stop the recording.